Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to JB's Total Gaming, and if you watch this channel you know that I like a lot of PC indie games, so I figured why not do a segment where I focus on some games that you may not know about, and instead of doing a full review because, well, I don't get review codes and I can't buy all these games that might be interesting to people that you might not know about otherwise. So first of all, let's talk about Dark Souls. Dark Souls is obviously not an indie game, but it does have a pretty big following. Really tough combat that may seem impossible at first, especially to a new player that you eventually get used to and get better at. You know, going back and getting your lost souls or whatever they are, you know, interesting and memorable boss battles and things like that. These are things that the franchise is known for, and a lot of games have started to use those sort of ideas in games of their own that are smaller indie games that, you know, don't maybe offer as much visually and things like that, but obviously come at less of a price and, you know, definitely offer some differences as well. So we're going to take a quick look at some of those. Alright, so the first game I wanted to look at here is Dark Mouse. So this is a game that you may be a little bit surprised by being kind of a Dark Souls inspired game, and it may at first glance look like a terrible game graphically. However, from what I've seen, from what I've looked at, from what other people have looked at, this is a game that, while it may not look like a whole lot, actually has really difficult and engaging combat that's going to be super tough. There are basically campfires you'll go to as save points, so there are a lot of similarities as far as the way the gameplay works. Very difficult combat, figuring out what enemies do when you come across new enemies that may seem impossible at first, and then you figure out how to fight them and you get better and so on and so forth. So all of that takes place, though, obviously from a top-down perspective where you play basically as a mouse guard character if the world has gone really wrong. So this is a game that looks pretty interesting. It has pretty positive reviews, so 91% so far, and is a $10 game. So if you need something to play until the American version of Dark Souls releases, or this is something that looks interesting to you, you know, this is a game that, you know, it has kind of an aesthetic that you might say, you know, oh, this game doesn't look very good, but you have to keep in mind the price, a smaller development team, and, you know, a lot of people have played it, have been pretty positive that this game, even though it is in top-down 2 dimensions, offers a lot of difficulty of gameplay, learning enemies, and so on and so forth, and a surprisingly similar gameplay loop in a very different world from a very different perspective. Alright, so let it be said that I only cover PC games here. Now, while Salt and Sanctuary will be coming to the PS Vita and the PC eventually, right now it is only on the PlayStation 4 store. So, Salt and Sanctuary, a $18 game, offers another two-dimensional game that is, again, very inspired by the Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne franchise, and it definitely, again, wears its inspiration on its sleeve. This game may have a little bit more to offer graphically than Dark Mouse, so here you, again, have lots of different weapons, different builds for your character, and that's one thing that Dark Mouse probably doesn't really offer a lot of. You will come across different weapons, and I believe there are stats and things that you can do in the game, but this game probably offers a little bit more of that. It is also a little bit more expensive of a game. Instead of a top-down perspective, we have a side-scrolling perspective, but the same ideas apply. Enemies you have to figure out how to beat, memorable boss battles, and things like that. So again, if you're looking for something to play in between, you know, waiting for Dark Souls to come out, if you just like that style of gameplay, if you're looking for that style of gameplay from a different perspective, or maybe you don't like that style of gameplay for certain reasons, but something like this might appeal to you, Salt and Sanctuary is yet another very highly reviewed game, definitely inspired by those franchises that may be available for you to play that you may not have heard about yet. Now, there are certainly other games inspired by Dark Souls out there, but those are the two that I personally found the most interesting. Dark Mouse because of its just extremely unique take, and Salt and Sanctuary just seems to offer a lot of interesting gameplay from a different perspective, even though it is more kind of clearly similar, but still very different in 2 dimensions. So hopefully you enjoyed this quick video, and I'm going to be doing more in-depth videos of this type. If there's any style of game you'd like to see indie games about, let me know. Let me know what you think about this video series, I'll be doing more of them. And next up we have roguelike and roguelite games, like FTL being probably the most popular, semi-recent one, but there are a bunch of other ones out there that have some similarities where you know, play in randomly generated things and probably die a lot. So we'll be back with that soon. And again, let me know if there's anything else in particular you'd like to see and what you think about the idea of this series going forward. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll be back with more soon.